Hello everyone, Laura K-Buzz here. Excuse the fact my hair is tied back and I'm in work mode properly today. I've just received the Steam controller, the new Steam controller for review. Thank you very much, Valve. Valve sent me one of these to do accessibility coverage of. Mine arrived today and I wanted to talk through the unboxing process and the accessibility of the packaging today. I have a more full-featured accessibility review coming in the coming days, but I'm going to need a couple of days to, play around with the thing before I'm ready to do that. So, yeah, today I'm just going to very quickly talk through the packaging as it turns up and any aspects of the packaging that might be important to understand from an accessibility perspective. This is pre-recorded, obviously. It shows up in a cardboard box with, your shipping label just glued onto it. I assume this will be the same for people who've purchased them rather than receiving them for review. There is a layer of tape on the outside, so you are going to have to have the dexterity required to break that initial seal. This is somewhere that some people with dexterity issues may require a little bit of help initially getting into the box. The packaging inside of here is definitely a bit more accessible, but I understand the reality of we got to have some kind of taped shut seal on tech like this. So once we get inside, cardboard box, image of the Steam controller on the front of it. I have to lift the box upside down to get it out, just in terms of my dexterity. We've got a USB to USB-C cable, the puck, and the controller shown on the back. Listing the contents and the serial numbers and things. Your games at your fingertips. I was going to say in your hands. So yeah, there is a little piece keeping the front of this box sealed shut. It is a cardboard strip that does have two slightly raised edges. There's going to be a little bit of dexterity required to open these. It's not quite like the large raised tabs that you might see on something like the Xbox Series consoles when they launched. But once you get inside, nothing is too fiddly to get to. The controller and the puck are on the lower level, and the USB cable is in the top, and we'll talk about that in a second. But we'll sort of pan back down. Yeah, the controller's not fastened in any way, so you can just lift it out. Same for the puck. I can talk a little bit about the basic ergonomics of this thing while we're here. It very much feels like you took a Steam Deck and shove the two halves into the middle. It's a bit more ergonomic than that. It definitely feels a little wider and a little longer than your standard Xbox or PS5 controller, just because they're trying to make space to fit the touchpads in. But everything's pretty nicely organized. I don't have huge hands, but reaching from the analog sticks down to the thumb pad or up to the buttons, everything's in relatively reasonable places. L4 and L5 on the back buttons, are positioned so that you're going to end up using your ring finger and smallest finger. Are sort of naturally where they're going to sit, which are not fingers I typically use for back buttons. I prefer to use middle and ring fingers. They're a little low, perhaps. Analog triggers and bumpers. Yeah, I'll have more in-depth thoughts on this in the coming days. There is no headphone jack on it, notably. You can see those three dots. These are where you can have the wireless transmitter / magnetic charger clips onto the back, which I'm showing on screen now, this little puck. The most notable thing about this initially is, as someone who constantly forgets that I've got a controller plugged in and, has ruined a controller or two in my time accidentally yanking a cable and damaging the port, this magnetic puck is definitely the breakaway point, which is good. So yes, on the top half, there is a nice hole in the cardboard to make it easy to lift up this top half. You can get the cable out the top, and the cable doesn't have any cable ties on it. It's just a piece of cardboard that I initially tried to unwrap, unseal it. It's much easier to just pull it off. It's not so tight that you can't just pull the cable out. So yeah, from an accessibility perspective, it's a pretty reasonable unboxing process. The hardest part, realistically, is going to be getting through the tape on the outside of the box. Once you're past there, not too much dexterity required. And as I say, I really appreciate there being a quick breakaway point for if you accidentally nudge that cable somewhere that the controller's going to disconnect without like doing any damage. Now I am going to show a little bit of the process of taking the back off of this controller in this same video, just because repairability and modability of this controller feels like it's going to be an important part of this conversation, and I want to tackle that now while we're here. So yeah, there's about 7 lengthy star-headed screws that are used to seal the back onto this. I've taken them out already at this point in the video. They are pretty long threads, so you're going to need a fairly lengthy threaded screwdriver to reach them, which can be a little tricky because at that kind of length getting traction can be hard. There are going to be a lot of disabled people who might need assistance to take the back off here, but there's a couple of features here that I think make it clear that Valve does want this to be user moddable and replaceable nice and easily. If any of you have previously taken apart tech, I'll use the Steam Deck as an example. You take out the screws and usually you have to go around with something called a spudger, a little tool to like pry the 2 pieces of plastic apart. It's the worst part of taking apart tech because it feels constantly like you're going to break the plastic, like you're not supposed to be going in there. The Steam controller does not have any of that. As you can see, I've already taken the back off here. It's like, it's once I've taken the screws out, the back piece desperately wants to come off. And as you can see, there's no ribbon cables to unplug when taking the back piece off. All the pieces on the back, as far as I can tell, are just rubber contacts. I do want to know if you can take the magnetic charging bit off of this back plate. I've got a video coming in a couple of days about some of the potential for replacing this back plate. But you open this up, a lot of the ribbon cables for things like the motors, super easily accessible. The battery in particular, very easy to just take out and replace. It's not glued down. It's clearly intended to be a user replaceable battery. You can see a lot of the ribbon cables are just very accessible already. I don't show too much further in disassembly in this video, but this is a pretty user replaceable controller. Of note, the analog sticks are soldered to the board, but it is possible to take the tops off of the analog sticks by disassembling this and replace them with different tops. So there is potential room in taking this apart to add like lengthier analog sticks or different shaped analog sticks if you need to do so for accessibility purposes. I'm going to have some more thoughts on that in the coming days. But yeah, here's a quick look at unboxing and the start of basic disassembly of the Steam controller. I'm going to have my main accessibility thoughts in a couple of days here on this channel. If you've got any questions in the meantime, feel free to ask them down in the comments, and I will try to get back to you, as many of you as possible, as quickly as possible. Thank you very much for watching. I will have a accessibility-focused review of this published in the next couple of days once I've had time to play around with the controller. Goodbye.